Leonardo da Vinci said that it was an acknowledged fact that we will always perceive the errors in other people's work more than we'd ever do in our own. Hi, I'm Martin Sharp, award-winning author, coach and mentor, and I'm here today to talk to you about one of those kind of subjects that most of us don't really think about, and that's really about how and where do we get our ideas from, and where and how do we interpret what other people say. Now, the reason why I think other people don't think about these things all that often is they're not necessarily aware. They kind of have this belief that their consciousness is purely their own, and it's their own self-will and their self-guiding, their free will effectively, that makes sure that things happen. But what I found, and in fact what most psychologists have agreed with, is that we are made up of all the various different experiences that not only we have had, but that we've been told about. And this kind of is provided to us in the way that we interpret the world. And there's no clearer way of seeing this than if you look over the last couple of centuries and think about, who have we been asked to hate? Because in so many ways, this is a great parallel of things that actually happen and what we've been programmed to do. So we went through one war, we're expected to hate one side. We go through another war, we're expected to hate somebody else. We go through a third war, we're expected to hate another party. Now, the fact of the matter is, and you look at this from the heartwarming stories you read in some of the journals, in some of the letters that were received, and even today in some of the media events, that when one member of one group meets another member of the other group, there's no animosity between those two individuals. And in most cases, those individuals are quite happy to share with each other. It's like the football match that happens on a Christmas Day morning in the middle of a trench. These are things that are really heartwarming stories, because the reality is the people that are involved don't necessarily hate each other. It's the establishment that's actually hate in total. And this kind of way of thinking, this idea that you have been affected by the wills and the understanding of others, by their teachings, by the way that they've done things, it is very much acknowledged, because the reality is you are only a sum of the information that you've been given. You will pick up so many habits, so many kind of characteristics, so many ways of doing things from people like your family and from your teachers and from your co-workers, that this really affects your day-to-day being. And there's a whole study of this around cognitive biases. And these kind of enable and disable us, because as human beings, we've developed this great ability to be able to take shortcuts. We don't need to necessarily know every single thing that goes on all the time. For instance, you don't need to think about breathing, your body just does it. When you're stood, you don't need to think about standing all your time, because you've done this so often, you just do it, because your body takes in shortcuts. Could you imagine what it would be like if the reality was you had to take every single sensory input that your body gives you, every single second that your eyes see, every single thing that your fingers feel, every smell that your nose smells, and have to process that in that moment? How exhausting would that be? So your body and your mind takes all this information and it only displays the bits to you, only gets you to really think about the things that it needs you to pay attention to. And this is proved all over the internet. If you've gone to YouTube, for instance, like you're doing now, and have a look at some of the videos, you'll find videos where, for instance, people walk across the back of a crowd wearing a gorilla outfit, and nobody notices because they've been asked to count how many people have yellow shoes or something on. And our attention is drawn away to one thing, and we miss sometimes the most absurd things happening elsewhere. Now, think about that. Where else is that happening in your life? What's happening at work that you're missing? What dots are you joining? Who are you being asked to hate? Once you're aware of these things, you can start to make a difference and start to challenge whether that's something you want, or whether it is actually an automatic response that's serving you well. So I'd like to leave you with this thought, and that is, if there's something you believe with certainty, that's probably the one thing that you need to check and challenge. Hi, I'm Martin Sharp. Have a great week ahead. If you enjoyed this video, then please click the subscribe button for more hints, tips, sound bites and extras in order to be able to help you influence change, build consensus and achieve a greater success in your life, in your career and in your organisation. So click that subscribe button now.